Hi. So this is day 2 or 3, however, I didn't end up posting yesterday, but I did make videos. I didn't want to post it though, and I have my reasons why. But I did make a video. This is I guess I'll just call it day 2. This is day 2 of my challenge of posting to YouTube unedited, unplanned, and unfiltered. So I have a different approach for today's video, and I am going to talk about one topic, and the topic today is ADHD. I have been wanting to make a concise video um, on this topic with with whatever I want to share, and I've been putting off making this video, and I thought, why not? Why not? I'll just do like a live stream of it and just have a conversation, because this is actually a topic that literally keeps coming up amongst my friends, people close to me, and who struggle with ADHD, in the sense that they haven't gotten a handle on it yet, and it's still unfortunately negatively impacting their life. And I feel really strongly about this topic because I have ADHD. I have ADHD inattentive type, so there's like two different forms, but even though they're categorized as there's different characteristics that make these two types different, essentially, from what I understand, they're pretty similar. So, or the results are similar. I guess the symptoms could look different. So for me, primarily inattentive type, some of the symptoms are forgetfulness. It's a lot of like cognitive dysfunctions, right? So my memory is not the best, even on medication, and having like a psychologist and a therapist to work through these things. It medication doesn't just solve all of the problems, right? It definitely helps make things better, especially with with depression, because depression excuse me, like, that is something that's like the biggest that's one of the biggest symptoms of untreated ADHD. And I was with a friend earlier today, and she was talking to me about how much she hates her job, and how much like how depressed she is there, and how much she wishes that she could just do this job, and and know that the current job that she's at right now, it's a means to an end, and it's not the end all be all. Like, this is a job that's helping fund her life in her other pursuits, right? Like her other dreams. And I just deeply resonate with her, though, because it's so hard to function when you're wildly depressed about your current situation. It's affecting your ability to like take care of yourself and to do something that's super normal, which is, you know, all of us to a degree, you know, there we have to put in the work in order for the things that we want to change and manifest and to create in our lives to come into fruition. Like, it takes time, and you know, with someone who has ADHD untreated, what that really means is that, first off, your motivation is just so low. Like, the two neurotransmitters that your brain and body is like not producing enough of is dopamine and norepinephrine, right? And dopamine is like the motivation chemical, you know. It's what helps people get excited about doing things, you know, and and seeing things through. When you don't have enough of both of those neurotransmitters, it greatly decreases your ability to like set a goal and then have delayed gratification, right? So like goals, whatever goal that you've set for yourself, there's like typically a whole journey from where you are now to where you want to go, you know. So it that in itself, that's not an overnight sort of thing. You can't just instantly get what you want. There's work involved. And so having very low motivation and very low willpower, low drive, and discipline, low discipline, it's almost fucking impossible to get from where you are to where you want to go, because somewhere along the way you give up, you know, because it's and it's painful. It's so painful to repeat this pattern over and over and over again. And that's kind of what it felt like for me. I mean, that is exactly what it felt like for me for like 28 years, you know. Because imagine if, like, this is the road, right? This is the road here to here. And if you're here and you're making your way and then you stop, right? Somewhere in the middle, somewhere here, like, you never get to your end destination because you have to like start over again. So it's over and over again. It's just this insane cycle that you could imagine how this pattern creates a sense of depression, or like a state of depression, because you start to internalize all of, you know, your inability to succeed as your own fault, you know, when really it's just how we were born, you know. It's how our brain chemicals production, like, you know, unseen things that we had no control of, you know. And that's really important to be able to separate, you know, to separate the fact that we didn't ask for this, we didn't ask to be born like this. You know, there is a sense of like letting go of this attachment of ownership of like, this is my fault, right? So, but then on the flip side, even though it's not your fault and you didn't ask for this, it is your responsibility to recognize that, okay, this is my problem. This is what's keeping me from happiness, this is what's keeping me from succeeding, this is what's keeping me depressed, then we figure out solutions, right? So, um, yeah, and personally, I am super grateful that I didn't get a diagnosis verified by like different psychologists, my therapists, until I was 28, because I did like 3 or 4 years of deep introspection and holistic healing and like non-pharmaceutical, very it was like really separated from like the Western ways, basically. Like, I didn't see a therapist until I was like 28 or 27, maybe 27 is when I started like seeing a therapist, because I had preconceived ideas and beliefs through prior experiences when I was younger that led me to think like, therapists aren't worth it, they don't work, it's not for me. And so that caused me to seek out other alternatives, which became like yoga and meditation and breath work and like hypnosis and like looking for all and reprogramming the subconscious mind and doing all of the like the healing work. I did that for like 4 years very diligently, but I always like it came to a point where I finally had to be honest with myself and say, look, I did my best. I'm doing my best. I can honestly say that I've been very diligent with it. And, I would be. It was like every day I would put in the work for years. And I was still not where I wanted to be, like it was so frustrating because I didn't know what else I could do, honestly. And that's when I realized, like, oh fuck, I'm not doing anything different. This isn't like something else needs to change and something else needs to happen. Whatever I'm doing right now, it's good, but it's not enough. So from there, I started doing that's actually when I finally was like, okay, I need to see a therapist. It was like 2020 and I finally was just like, I'm gonna invest in therapy. And it honestly wasn't even until I think I started therapy like November 2020, and it wasn't until like July of 2021, like I changed therapists 3 times. My third therapist was the one who did like a incredible, like very detailed like inquisitive questioning. She really took her time and was like so present with me and just went through a very thorough background of me and asking all these incredible questions to get to understand who I am, how my mind works, like what my problems are, stuff that I feel like everyone else missed. And eventually there was just this one session where she stopped me and she's like, you know, a lot of your symptoms, they remind me of ADHD. Like it's like your depression sounds like a symptom of undiagnosed ADHD. And I was like, huh? You know, because I was always under the impression that, you know, I am depressed. I'm depressed and I have anxiety, you know? And it wasn't until like with her I finally realized, like, okay, but what's causing the depression? What's causing the anxiety? Like, people don't just get depressed and anxious for no reason, you know? But with major depressive disorder, um, for me personally, I didn't know why I was depressed because I spent so much of my life like just depressed. So it was like I didn't understand what could have been the problem. You know what I mean? It's like because I would get depressed triggered by nothing seemingly, you know, and if you've spent like a long period of your life in going in and out of these depressive episodes, it's so difficult to pinpoint like why, you know. So it's same with anxiety, you know. And it was such a revelation. It was such a revelation for me to understand like there was something untreated that is causing this symptom of depression. And so long story short, she was like, I think we should do a diagnosis, or I forget what the term she used was. um, there's these different tests that you can take to help determine whether or not you like fall under the category of ADHD. Like, and so we did the test and it came out like I think if you have, I think in the, yeah, I think it has something to do with the DSM, right? If you answer, like if you have 7 out of the 9 symptoms or something, or maybe it's 6 out of the 9, don't quote me on this, but basically if you meet the requirements or the minimum symptoms, then it's likely you could have ADHD. So then you go and you see a psychiatrist and then you do more, you know, like you do more work on it. So yeah. So after I worked it out with her, it actually, my journey of like actually getting prescribed and getting help was kind of a long journey. Like I basically, because I saw my therapist on health better health, she, like, her diagnosis isn't like, you can't get prescribed medication from it, so you have to go to a psychiatrist who can basically corroborate her diagnosis, and then you can get treated. So during my journey of looking for a psychiatrist, I had to, you know, jump through different hoops to make sure it like fit in with my health insurance and yada yada. And a lot, like, I got matched up with 2 different doctors who basically like was like gaslighting me. It was like these 2 guys who was just like, you know, I think you just have depression, you know, like we should get you treated for that. And I get it, you know, to a degree, that to not prescribe like ADHD medication like it's candy. so I understand that, but I'm like, me being a grown-ass woman doing my research, also having like the confidence backed by my therapist, who's clearly licensed and like, you know, like went through years of school and graduate school, like, and who actually knows me, you know. The fact that like I couldn't just say like, hey, I have this condition and I need help and I want to get treated for it, like the fact that it wasn't just a clear yes, like, is disappointing because, you know, but I get it, because I think a lot of people don't do the amount of research and I guess I just get it, you know, like not everyone is as self-aware and self-involved in their healing journey, you know, like I'm very, like I am a very active participant in my well-being, you know, like I put in the fucking work and I know it, you know, so it was just like pretty annoying for me to be gaslit in that way. But anyways, the whole reason why I'm bringing this up is the journey to like get help was a long one. Like even when I figured out the solution. Hello? Yes. All right, so I'm gonna go get dessert with my roomie, and I'm just gonna end this video here, but I am going to talk more about this, all of it, all of the ADHD stuff. All right.